So it's been a minute since I covered the post-game of one of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon titles, and that's a real shame because two more games got released on the 3DS, beginning with Gates to Infinity. This 2013 installment, or 2012 if you're in Japan, features 8 new dungeons to explore after completing the main storyline, and you might find some cool surprises in each of them as well. I've done this same concept in 21 other videos on the channel, to the point where people are calling me the post-game prodigy. Okay, no, they're not. That's cringy, man. Just feel free to check out the playlist after this video. Without further ado though, make sure to hit that sub button as it really does help out the channel, and let's actually play through the post-game of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity.
He said it! He said it!
Now, just as I did in the other Mystery Dungeon videos, I'll give y'all a quick rundown of the storyline in case you've never seen this game in your life, like me. It all begins with the classic, oh, you fell asleep and somehow woke up as a Pokemon. But this time you'll have a vision of a Hydreigon chasing a Munna. Man, that Munna looks so scared and innocent. No way it would end up being the villain of this game. You get to choose which Pokemon you want to be, and then you'll meet up with the main partnermon. And yes, I chose Tepig, the best Unova starter. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Anyways, the two of you will partake in different rescue missions across many different dungeons, while also adding new members to your rescue team, such as a Dunsparce, Emolga, and even Verizon 5G. It all culminates to finding out that Munna actually works for the evil Kyurem because Munna lost hope in the world or something. Upon convincing her to change her mind though, you square off with Kyurem for one final showdown. After being victorious, Glacier Palace begins to crumble, your companions hold a big celebration, and then you start to float in the air, which represents you going back to the human world. Nonetheless, this is where our adventure starts. Once you load your file again, the player character goes on a monologue about how they're sad because they won't be able to return to the Pokemon world, which tells me that their life as a human must suck. Then you get an update from the partner Pokemon, who is also sad that you're not here anymore, as they stare at the empty bed next to them. Post Town seems to be fine and dandy, minus Hydreigon being surprised that everyone still remembers the player, even though they were supposed to forget after the events at the end of the main story. Hydreigon and Keldeo become the newest members of your team, and you're now left to play as the partnermon. There are 8 new dungeons to check out, but before we get there, we gotta talk about Mysteriosity. This mechanic becomes present in the post-game, and it determines the likelihood of strange occurrences happening in each area. Every dungeon is assigned a number from 1 through 5, with 5 giving the greatest chance of something mysterious to happen. These can range from enemy Pokemon being asleep, abilities becoming useless, or even being teleported to a different dungeon. Anyways, the first of the new locations is Windy Shoreline. All the new dungeons range from 10 to 29 floors, and most of them feature a room filled with a loot at the end. And to my knowledge, you don't even have to venture through them in order to access the rest of the post-game events, so that's nice. After a day passes, you'll witness a cutscene in which Hydreigon looks to be in bulking season as it's eating all the food in the inn. Then Keldeo has a chat with its phone company and asks if they are his best friend.
Nope.
Oof, man, that's tough. The next dungeon on the list is Canyon Foot, and after another exploration, Hydreigon is seen resting in Post Town. But then it gets kinda creepy because it feels a disturbance and then stares into your soul through the screen. Although Dunsparce interrupts, this begins the small plotline that takes place in the postgame. For now though, travel to the third new area, the Silent Tundra, and this is probably a good time to explain the other notable feature with these dungeons. All of them give you a chance to battle and recruit Tornadus and Thundurus, but boy oh boy is it unlikely to do so. They can only appear in the Gilded Hall Inner Chamber, which is one of the random places you can be teleported to thanks to Mysteriosity, meaning you'll want to select a dungeon that has a rating of 5. However, Tornadus and Thundurus' spawn rates are 0.34 and 0.36% respectively, and the chances of them joining your squad if you do encounter them? Oh, you know, 3%. Sure, you can boost that by using gifts from Cinccino's shop, but that's still insane. Getting Landorus is at least slightly better as it has a set location, that being the 8th floor of Breezy Meadow. Still, it rarely spawns and only has a recruitment rate of 5.71%, so yeah, it's safe to say I didn't see any of the genies. Eventually, Emolga will catch up to the partner Pokemon and ask if they've seen Hydreigon anywhere. Apparently, bro didn't pay his bill at the inn the other day. Golly, didn't know the bill collector came to the Pokemon universe too. The next morning, Emolga shows up once more, and Hydreigon appears behind it, but stays hidden thanks to Emolga's awful peripheral vision. He was supposedly investigating something, but then you all make your way back to the inn. Hydreigon explains that there is a way to get the player character back into this universe due to the fact that the laws of nature are changing or something. Like, come on bro, you're not Charles Darwin. All of this opens up the World Core dungeon, which you must go to in order to carry out the plan. But first, you can ignore the incredibly important stuff and explore the remaining new dungeons. There's the Dream Island, Moonlit Forest, Rusty Mountain, Jaws of the Abyss, which has to be the coolest name for a dungeon, and Smoking Mountain. Hey, you must be able to find Smokey the Bear out there. Get it? Cause like, the Smoky Mountains are a thing in real life. Okay. Alright, it's time to travel to the World Core, which is a pretty cool area with all the lava everywhere, and it's not even difficult as there's only 13 floors. Upon reaching the end, you'll look to be in outer space, and Hydreigon will meet you there. The partner Pokemon makes a wish, they both stare at you through the screen again, which is seriously off-putting, and then you're prompted with the choice to return. Honestly, I don't know what happens if you say no, but by selecting yes, you'll appear back in the Pokemon world. Hey yo, what is Snivy doing?
Hey,
what?
yo.
For real though, this guy's parents in the human world have to be worried sick. He was gone for a while, then came back for a bit, and now he's disappeared yet again. Exiting out the game and going back in makes you aware of the fact that you can evolve now, so that's cool. Most evolutions take place normally too. You know, you don't have to go to some kind of spring this time around. So now you're left to continue upgrading the Pokemon Paradise. In case you don't know, this is the area around your home base where you can use various materials to prepare land and build different facilities. Now that you've saved Post Town though, you also have the option to paint your home. Fortunately, as far as I know, nothing requires you to max out the Paradise, but in the post-game, Meloetta can be found roaming the area. It'll request that you build the Music Paradise facility, but what sucks about this is all the items needed are only obtained by completing the hardest missions on the notice board. The materials include rare soil, endless stone, gilded metal, and fine log. While gathering those things, you may find your team achieving the perfect rank, the highest you can possibly be. This rewards you with some cool stuff like the TMs for Frenzy Plant, Blast Burn, and Hydro Cannon. How about you, Boldor? You gonna give me anything? No? Okay, then you'll never evolve because you have no friends to trade with. Anyways, bring the materials to Meloetta and it'll construct the facility, which allows you to play all 64 in-game soundtracks, but only while you're in the Paradise. Yeah, not really worth it in my opinion, but then again, Meloetta also joins your squad, so maybe it is. The other two Swords of Justice can also be recruited, as you'll randomly see a challenge from either Terrakion or Cobalion during the postgame. You don't have to travel very far either, but oh my gosh, they're accompanied by a bunch of annoying Mienshao. Luckily, it is guaranteed that Terrakion and Cobalion get recruited upon their defeat. The last set of legendaries can only be found through requests on the notice board to the left. None of them can be recruited, but they're all very strong and provide a solid challenge, especially thanks to the fact that you can only use one team member. This group consists of Black and White Kyurem in the Turbulent Tor, Reshiram in Ivory Peak, Lugia in the Seasoned Ruins, Ho-Oh in the Eternal Ruins, Zekrom in Obsidian Edge, and regular Kyurem in the Hoarfrost Tower. And with that, we've just about done everything you can do in the post-game of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity. Although there wasn't as much content as something like Explorers of Sky, I enjoyed the small storyline with going to the World Core and bringing back the player character. I would also like to praise this game for having no stupidly difficult dungeons, like those ones in other Mystery Dungeon titles where you're at floor 97 of a 99 floor dungeon and you run into a monster house. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, have a great rest of your day, and until next time, deuces!